Top 10 Luckiest People Alive. Despite all the shattered mirrors and black cats in the world, some people appear to have the best luck. We'll talk about the top 10 luckiest persons in this video. Before continuing, please like this video and follow our YouTube channel for more intriguing content. Therefore, let's begin with our list. The exceptional good fortune of these 10 people gives fate the appearance of being more than simply a theory. Number 10. William Morgan. Even the doctors believed that Australian Bill Morgan's life was over when his car collided with a truck, crushing him as a result. After being deemed legally dead for more than 14 minutes, the local news station was so impressed after learning about him. When they asked him to scratch off another card to recreate the scene, he won an incredible additional $250,000 while the show was live. Number 9. Robinson, Edwin E. The likelihood of being struck by lightning is 1 in 20,000. But for 62-year-old Edwin E. Robinson, who is also deaf and blind, those odds increased to 100%. However, the temptation was too great for the lightning, which struck Robinson to the ground. He was unconscious for 20 minutes before waking up, stumbling back to his house. But when he finally opened his eyes in the evening, he found that he could see and hear once more. He was later seen by his doctor, who confirmed that he had recovered both his sight and his hearing, and that he had likely survived the explosion thanks to the rubber soles on his shoes. Number 8. Joan R. Ginther. Did you know that you have a higher chance of being hit by an asteroid than winning the lottery? But Joan Ginther persisted despite that. She won the lottery an astounding 4 times throughout her life, confounding scientists everywhere. And each time, she won multi-million-dollar payouts, not just meager $20 or $50 wins. She won $5.4 million in the beginning, and then $2 million more 10 years later. She won a respectable $3 million 2 years later, then a mind-blowing $10 million in 2008. Number 7. Tsutomu Yamaguchi. Tsutomu Yamaguchi worked for Mitsubishi Heavy Industries during World War II, which required him to travel all over the nation. The first nuclear bomb was dropped in 1945, while he was on a business trip to Hiroshima. He miraculously survived the explosion despite being hurt. He then hurried back to his family and house in Nagasaki before going back to work, the day the second nuclear attack took place. Yamaguchi stated in an interview, "I can't understand why the world cannot understand the agony of the nuclear bombs. How are these weapons still being developed?" Yamaguchi became the only person in the world officially acknowledged to have survived 2 nuclear bomb explosions in 2009 after Japan officially recognized him as a survivor of both atomic bombs dropped on Japan. Number 6. Martin de Jonge. Sometimes, people only survive because they stay out of the danger that would have threatened them. Martin de Jonge, a Dutch cyclist, avoided being killed by an airplane twice in just 4 months. He reserved a seat on the MH17 flight, but when the doomed flight he was initially planning to board crashed midway, he discovered a cheaper flight and changed his ticket. He was also supposed to be on flight MH370, which vanished in 2014 and was never recovered, but it was abruptly rescheduled. Number 5. Nichiren. He led a contentious and turbulent life. The authorities believed his writings were subversive and would threaten their authority if they were allowed to spread, so he was given a death by beheading sentence. Nichiren was about to meet his end, but by a literal stroke of luck, he was spared when the executioner was struck by lightning as he raised his sword to kill Nichiren. Due to the peculiar circumstances, Nichiren was eventually freed. But he remained exiled and continued to live until he was very old. Number 4. Terry Price. For their flavor, texture, and occasionally even price, oysters are a beloved fine dining food that is highly sought after in restaurants and by home cooks. Some people believe them to be aphrodisiacs, and Terry Price is more than head over heels for them ever since she discovered a pearl in one. Terry Price overcame the odds of 1,000,000 to 1 by doing nothing more than purchasing a few 49-cent oysters from Tesco, just like the majority of other customers do. Her co-workers at the homeless shelter where she worked turned the pearl into a 500-pound ring as a parting gift to serve as a perpetual memento of her good fortune. She is about to relocate to Spain. Number 3. Anders Helstrup. You anticipate that skydiving will involve a certain amount of risk. You must be plunging toward the ground at terminal velocity as you jump out of the aircraft. There cannot possibly be anything more hazardous than that. Except for Norwegian Anders Helstrup, who encountered a problem in the form of an approaching meteorite. And this wasn't just a tale he told his friends to make them wonder if he was crazy. The entire incident was recorded on camera. It caught the interest of the scientific community after being uploaded to the internet. Helstrup spent the entire summer scouring the neighborhood for the fabled space rock, but as of 2014, he has not located it. I suppose you can't please everyone. Number 2. Lena Paulsson. Lena Paulsson, a Swedish woman, put her wedding ring aside in 1995 so she could bake some holiday treats. But when she went to put it back where it belonged on her finger, she found that it had vanished. She and her husband finally decided that the ring was lost. That is, until Lena discovered something in her garden in 2012, almost 16 years later. Paulsson was pulling up carrots when she was shocked to discover her long-lost ring wrapped around one of the carrots. It would have been like winning a miniature bottle ring toss at the fair if one of the seeds had managed to land inside the ring. Lena, however, is just happy to have her ring back after all. She could care less about the impossibly low likelihood of how she did it. Number 1. Frane Selak. Frane Selak, a Croatian who goes by the moniker the unluckiest man in the world, has miraculously escaped death 7 times. His first near-death experience occurred in 1962 while he was riding a train in January. The train overturned and plunged into a chilly river. While 17 other passengers perished in the water, bystanders pulled him to safety and shore with only a broken arm and hypothermia. The plane lost height and crashed to the ground in 1963, just a year after he took his first and last flight. While the plane crashed, killing 19, Frane was blown out of a broken plane door and miraculously managed to land on a haystack unharmed. 3 years later, in 1966, he was riding in a bus when it ran off the road and into a river, killing 4 people. This was arguably one of his strangest reasons for almost dying. He was still alive, but his testicles were not. Later, in 1995, he was struck by a bus in Zagreb but escaped with only minor wounds, and a year later, he swerved into a guardrail on a mountain road to avoid colliding head-on with a United Nations truck. Frane, who was not wearing a seatbelt, was thrown out of the car when the door flew open, as a result of the guardrail breaking due to the force of the car hitting it. And to top it all off, Frane Selak won $1.1 million from the Croatian National Lottery in 2003, 2 days after he turned 73. What a wonderful birthday gift! Hannah Javins was born in the United States and now resides in Texas, where she attends school after spending a considerable amount of time in Singapore and Brazil. She enjoys creating art, participating in gallery shows, and writing poetry. So, do you like this video? Give your answer in comments section below, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos.